We had the best honeymoon ever. We went to the most magical place in the world, Disney World. Yay. Only the women clapped. That happens every time. Why? Because women are like, oh my God, Disney World, that's so like magical. Oh my gosh, Disney World, that's so fun. I love it. But here's the thing. Men hear that and they're like, oh, she's crazy. Because they're just imagining this guy just being dragged through Disney World. Like, what is this? I'm not gonna lie, my husband loved it. He wanted to go. He's always wanted to go. But he couldn't go by himself. He's a straight white man. That is the see something you say something about, all right? You just see a white dude by himself at Disney, you're like, call somebody. Can they just sell one ticket like that? He's reaching in his pocket. What is he? Is that a phone? I don't trust him. Like, it's just, they don't trust him. So we had a great time at Disney World, just skipping around. It was wonderful. Everything was great, you know. It is funny because sometimes as an interracial couple, I still think, like, are we gonna have any weird moments? Is anything gonna be uncomfortable? Because I know it's Disney, but it's still Florida, you know? Nothing weird happened. Everybody's happy. Everyone's good. I did learn a lot about my white husband, though. I learned something, and I'm not gonna lie. You know, if I had been given an option, if there were other models, I maybe would have gone a different direction. Hear me out. I still love him, but like, no one told me you have to reapply sunscreen. I didn't know that. Why are y'all so flammable? Why doesn't anybody? Nobody talks about this. There's no book, no what to expect when you're expecting to marry a white guy. It's not on any shelves. And if somebody had told me, like, they're always on fire. Like, you have to, don't skip the ears. You'll ruin your whole honeymoon. If someone had told me that, I would have been prepared, but I was not. And he was just simmering all weekend. Disney was a lot of fun. I got a lot of flack from that from my friends. They were like, why would you go to Disney World? It's your honeymoon. Don't you want to see the world? I was like, Epcot is the world. When was the last time you had churros and orange chicken at the same time? Okay. So great. There's so many great things to do there. My favorite part was Disney's Fake Africa. That was definitely my favorite. I think it's actually called Animal Kingdom, but I just like calling it Fake Africa. It's a lot of fun. It's a really cool park. And one thing that actually is great, they do like show a lot of respect to the different, the different nations and the different nationalities. So they have people representing those groups there, and everyone's just so welcoming and nice. I remember we went into this restaurant and my husband stepped away for a second to go to the bathroom, and I checked in by myself, and this beautiful man, I mean, he looked like the guy who plays Black Panther. This beautiful Nigerian man was like, welcome home, Queen. And I was like, suddenly I'm okay with this. Queen, you say? And he's like, right this way. We'll make sure you're taken care of. You know, this is a terrible accent, please. Forgive me. So he's like, right this way. We'll make sure you're taken care of. And then all of a sudden, my husband walks in his Lion King t-shirt with cargo shorts and a sunburn on his bald spot. Is the table ready? And all of a sudden, T'Challa was like, it'll be a wait. Is this your king?
I've been doing a temp job. I feel like the past 7 years I've been a bartender. And I like bartending. I like the service industry. I just felt like I was getting cranky. I was turning into a cranky bartender. One of the last nights that I worked, I had a guy come in and he had his money fanned out in his hand. And he came up to the bar and he was like, I have $7. What should I get? I was like, I don't know, a job? Some financial planning advice, perhaps? And go buy a banana and make a phone call. I can't help you here. I'm making my living dollar by dollar. Then I had another guy, he used to like give me his tips and he'd make them into little origami things. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he'd make a tulip or a tuxedo shirt out of $1. It'd take him like 20 minutes to give me $1. I'm like, hey, get your prison yards, arts and crafts off the bar. You know. what am I supposed to do with that? I go into Dunkin' Donuts the next day. They're like, oh, that's $3. I'm like, here's 2 tulips and a tuxedo shirt. Do you accept this mockery of our currency? Because this is how I get paid. I had another guy, he used to love to give me Susan B. Anthony coins. I'm like, I feel like Susan B. Anthony coins is like the STD of tips, you know? I'm like, I don't want anyone to know I have this. How am I going to get rid of it? And who the hell was that guy anyway? You know? It's crazy. But I've been doing, I was doing a temp job, and I'm not so good in the office. You know, I feel like there's no personal boundaries. You know, I come in with my food, and everyone's like, oh, what'd you bring? I'm like, it's mine. Back off. And then I actually got in trouble for taking up too much room in the community refrigerator. I was like, doesn't sound like much of a community to me. I'll bring my own refrigerator tomorrow. I got in trouble at the temp job because I was fresh to my temporary boss. He was always asking me about my food. You know, I'd peer over my thing. Oh, what's that? What's that you're eating? I'm like, this here? This is a nosy jerk sandwich. Your mother made it for me. Move along, pal. Move along. You don't like nosy jerks, all right. I don't like them either.
I also like to ride bikes. My husband bought me a bicycle last year for my birthday. He's a really sweet guy. He said, go down to the bike store, just pick out whichever one you want, and I'll buy that for your birthday. So I went to the bike store, walked in there. This very nice young man named Curtis waited on me. He's maybe 22, maybe 23 years old, young guy. He said, okay, try out your bike, go out in the parking lot. If you like it, come back and tell me. So I rode this bike in the parking lot, came in. I said, Curtis, I like this bike. I want to buy this bike, but I don't like this bicycle seat. It hurts me. And he said, oh, not a problem. We can change out the seat. So he runs to the back room, and he comes back with another seat, another really uncomfortable looking seat that looks just like the one I just got off of, except this one has a groove down the middle, very narrow groove. And he said, see, this one's for girls. And I said, yes, Curtis, this one's for girls, young, virtuous girls. I'm neither young nor virtuous. I've created 3 human beings inside my body. And I have pushed them out of the part of my body that's going to be sitting on this bicycle seat. So what I'm going to need you to do for me, Curtis, is get me some wide seat, preferably with some sort of soothing gel insert. Because this part of my body needs a vacation, Curtis. And Curtis turned bright red and ran away. And he came back with the owner of the store, who was a guy like my age. And the guy says to me, Curtis says you have a question. It's like, yes, I have a question. I like this bike. I want to buy this bike. I don't like this bicycle seat. It hurts me. Can I get another one? He said, how many kids do you have? And I said, 3. He said, I'll be right back. Comes back with the Holy Grail, the big, soft bicycle seat with a soothing gel insert. He said, here, I think you'll like this seat. My wife, Barbara, has this seat. I think she's in your walking group. It's free. It's free. Take it. It's free. So I also swim. I go to the Y to swim, and there's a lady that comes to my Y. She's very, very inspirational. She's in her mid-80s, but she swims every day. But she's one of those people who comes in the Y locker room who does not think she needs a towel. And I just think everybody needs a towel. You know, they're not heavy. Get a towel. So she came in there, and not too long ago, she got her shower, came in the locker room, no towel, and we're all in there, and she goes over to her locker, and she puts on her bra, and then she puts on her turtleneck sweater that's got little trees on it, and then she puts a big turtleneck sweater on top of that. cable net, and so from the waist up, she's completely dressed. And from the waist down, nothing. And then with a room full of women, she turned her back and bent over to her clothing bag, this Ella Bean tote bag, and she's rummaging and rummaging for what we all hoped would be her underpants. And she's rummaging, and we're looking everywhere except in her direction. And finally she said, I know I had panties on when I came here. Because I went to the grocery store first. Which makes me love her even more. Because she's an active senior, she's inspirational, and she's a lady. And she knows that ladies do not go to the grocery store commando. So I'll leave you guys with this. Again, a reason that my husband and I have been married for 24 years. He's a great guy, really is. He's helpful. When I'm driving, he likes to read the speed limit signs. And a couple years ago, I signed up for a swimming race in the ocean, and you swim from Peaks Island, Maine, over to the mainland of Portland, Maine. So you're in the ocean for like 2.5 miles, and you have to have a kayaker go with you. I guess in case a shark attacks you, they're there to pick up the body parts. I'm not really sure. So I said to my husband, hey, I'm going to sign up for this race. Will you please be my kayaker? He said, of course. I just have one question. Can I fish while I'm doing it?
I love Southern women, though. They're good women. I love them. My favorite Southern woman would have to be my great Aunt Jackie. Aunt Jackie is 98 years old, and I'm sure every family has some version of her. She is as old school Southern as you can get. Like when I first told her that I wanted to be an artist and I want to go to art school, she was like, well, darling, why don't you just get married and then you could doodle all day long? What? That's old school South right there. That's like, I know you have dreams, but can't you get married first? For real, one of my greatest joys in life was actually calling her up about 3 years ago, I think. And I told her that I was officially a full-time artist without the prospect of a man in sight. And she about had a heart attack. It's true. That's actually what I do. That's what I've done for the last 3 years. I'm a full-time artist, which also means thank you. Well, it also means I have 4 part-time jobs. So 4 years of college, I got a job for each year. Yeah. I did not tell her that. Bless her heart. I love that woman. She's great, though. She's 98. She currently lives in a memory care center because she suffers from dementia. She is oddly sharp as a tack when it's convenient. Which I think is suspicious. I'm just saying. So my mom and I, we go to visit her last summer, and the nurse takes us to her room, and she's like, this is Jackie's new room. Isn't it so cozy? And Jackie stops her, and she says, cozy? Cozy is just a polite word for small. I'm losing my mind, not my sense of space. She was aware that she was unaware. I was like, that's Jedi right there. Yeah. I started calling her Jedi Jackie. I was like, yeah. Another JJ. So we're talking, and my mom points out her chair, and she's like, well, Jackie, I love your chair. Is that new since last time? It is. Well, it's very pretty. Where did you get it? I don't know, but I like it, and someone else is missing one. That's Jedi. Making chairs appear. The whole time we're there, I noticed this old man walking around room to room, and he's chatting up all the older ladies. I was like, hey, Jackie, who's that guy? She said, that's Vern. Vern. Of course, his name was Vern. Yeah, she said, he's still a married man. He came here with his wife, and he flirts with all the other women. Of course, his wife can't keep track of him, because she can't remember she's married to him. what the vow should say. Not till death do us part, till memory do us part. Vern was having the time of his life. He was killing it. I actually ran into him in the cafeteria later, and Aunt Jackie saw us talking, and she rolls up in her little wheelchair, and she's like, Vern, don't you talk to her. You know she's too young for you, and I think she's related to me. Yeah, I was like, that is love. I don't know you, but I got you. Just in case I know you.
And, I talk about, I was married for 12 years and I've recently become a single mom. I don't know if there's any single moms here, probably at home raising their kids. And mine are in the car. I know, it was hard. I was hard being a single parent and, and especially because I was married to a comedian. So I would like to tell you more about our divorce, but we're litigating the punchlines in court right now. So, it's very hard. I know, but it's hard, and I definitely don't date, but I get asked out sometimes over Instagram and stuff, and I talk to my 10-year-old about it because it's healthy, and so I don't date. I have Netflix. Why would I date? And so some of you women are like, I get it. I totally get it. Why would you leave the house? But no, so I got asked out by a dentist last week, and I told Lucy, I'm like, Mommy got asked out by a dentist. She's like, you can't marry a dentist, Mommy. And I said, why? She goes, because every Halloween would be sugar-free. And people are like, you should get out there, you should go dating, you should go online. Now, have you guys seen the show Making of a Murderer? Have you seen the posters? That guy is on eHarmony, okay? I am telling you, it is not pretty out there. And I'm 40, okay? So any guy who wants to date me online is now 89 years old and has a profile that's called See You Next Tuesday. I'm like, if you live that long, sir, okay? But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, does he have a 401k plan? I really need to be more open. Started doing shows at senior centers and just seeing who looks like they have a weak heart, And, some of you are laughing at me because it's so sad. I know, just go home and hug your spouse. You're like, I love you. You know what? I'm going to go home and I have the remote, all the mics off. Maybe if I do that, someone will ask me out. I've never done that at a show before. They're like, I have money here. Just take it. Just take the cash. No. So they're good. It's weird though when your kids have both parents are stand-up comedians. Like you can wonder what that's like. There's a lot of restraining orders, and so it's just like. The neighbor's like, you guys rehearsing again. But so my kids are always getting in trouble. They're what we like to call spirited children. Has anyone ever heard that term about your babies? There was a spirited baby. They're active. They're a serial killer waiting to happen. And you know what I'm about. You just want to harness their powers for good, not evil. And so Lucy gets in trouble for talking all the time at school. And I said, Luce, you got to get a hold of your mouth. I struggled with this my whole life. She's like, geez, Mom, I don't want to end up like you. Oh, I know. Well, she's grounded for 7 years. But you should feel sorry for her. Both their parents are comedians. It is a crazy existence. And then I have 2 kids, and it's just so hard. And I put my sweet little Ruby. She's like, well, she's better than the other one. And you have one kid that you like better. Come on. You like one better. It's the one that doesn't talk. And it's like... You don't like your kids equally. If you happen to be here with your parents tonight, you're the one they like, okay? Let's get that straight. Figure it out. Or you're the one they've been neglecting for 20 years. They're like, I'm going to make it up to you with a night of comedy. I care.
So I'm married. I haven't been married very long. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. It's a big decision. When he moved in and he's laying next to me, I had that thought, oh, crumb. He's here. I wonder when he's going to go home. You're kind of stuck with each other. That's a big decision. He has sleep apnea, though. Every now and then he quits breathing. And I'm thinking, well, that might be my out. Yeah. He's a nice guy. I love this guy. He's great. Of course I love him, right? Romance is real important in a relationship. On an average day, if you've been married for a while, let me hear from my married folks. Who's married in the house tonight? Come on! we are. Anybody dating on a date night right now? Notice the married people didn't clap along with that. Listen, married people, if you get showered and you put clothes on that are kind of nice, call it a date. If you're going to the grocery store and you put on good shoes, whatever, call it a date. You can date too. You can be just as happy as those people. On an average day, for the married couple who've been married for a while, a man speaks about 2,000 words. A woman speaks about 8. Yeah. Now, when you're dating, and we heard the exuberance there, on the men increase what they say to us 12,000 words during the dating process. Men speak to us in a day. Women we have to accommodate that. We go down to 5. 12,000 to 5. You men, oh my goodness. Talk. You get married, 2,000. That's right. Because you're being romantic. It's the romantic phase. And romance is very important, isn't it? Yes. I love romance. I love Romeo and Juliet. That's one of the most romantic plays, even though they die at the end. They said some pretty cool stuff to each other. The first time Romeo... Well, let me just backtrack for a second. I knew that in my relationship right now, the romance was pretty much going to have to be worked on when I heard this. Hey, Kim! I just cut one and I can't even stand the smell of this one myself. You better open up some windows because it's pretty bad. And come in here and smell it because I think I'm sick. I'm like, I'm not a fartologist. I'm not going to come in there and smell it. We're in our 50s and had hot dogs the night before. Maybe that's it. No romance at that point. That's awful. Romeo and Juliet. So Romeo sees Juliet at a party, and he says to his friends, and it was a masquerade party, he sees her, and he says to his friends, "Did my heart love until now? I swear for sight I ne'er saw true beauty until this night." She comes out on a balcony, he says, "But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? 'Tis the east and Juliet's the sun. My life with this man is more like this. Romeo, Romeo, where fought thou now, Romeo? I seeth thou not, yet smelleth thou in every chamber. For thou dost reek, Romeo." And if Romeo were to have that happen, I think he would say something like this: "But soft, a wind from down under doth break. Come, help me create a gentle breeze from the east, for the smell is offensive even unto me." Ladies and gentlemen, the lowest form of comedy is the fart joke. The highest form of theatrical performance is Shakespeare. And they collided in front of you tonight, right? Yeah, thank you. Yeah. My 8-year-old grandson loves that joke. He doesn't know anything about Romeo and Juliet, but hearing Grandma say fart is so much fun. He's not allowed to say it right now because he overused it, I think. Little boys who are 8, that's so fun.
Oh, y'all. So about my husband. All right, so my husband is a big man and is 6'4". I'm 5'8". We breed big kids. And we wanted them to be in sports and when they were growing up, and so we made them do all kinds of mess they didn't want to do. And we put our boy, when he was little bitty, we put him in T-ball. He hated it. I don't know if any of y'all have had a baby play T-ball, but for those of you who don't know, T-ball season, it's about 110 degrees outside. It's little children that are 4 look like they've got a diaper on under their baseball pants or a pull-up. The games last about 3 hours. Nobody ever hits the ball, throws the ball, catches the ball, makes contact with the ball. My baby laid in a fetal position in the outfield the entire season. He never touched a ball. Every once in a while, he'd pop his little head up and say, "Water." One game, it was so hot, and I told the middle one to go out and take her brother a water bottle. She was about 2.5, and she went walking out there with a tutu and a crown and a wand and her pink prostitute shoes from Walmart. She walked about halfway, stopped, got a glazed look over her eyes, pulled her little panties to the side, and pooped in the T-ball field. She really did. So I had to run out there and get a stick and flick it into the woods because I didn't want another child to step in it or think it was a milk dud. He would not play sports for several years because of that trauma. And then ended up playing football and cross country and a bunch of stuff, and still he likes to mountain bike and hike and do scary things, but he likes to come, out west to do it. And he's a fly fisherman. Can y'all tell I'm in love with him? Okay.
I feel great, and I have the greatest job in the world. Stand-up comedy. I just celebrated 22 years. Best job in the world. 22 years. Do you know why I've had this job so long? Because it is easy. I find it only has 2 rules that work for me. Be yourself and have a good time. And that's what people pay me for. Things that I was going to do for free anyway. Right? Who knew you could make a career of being yourself and having a good time? I mean, I've been on TV, in movies, all over the world. Who knew? Do you know how much time I wasted on real jobs? Wasted. I could have been being myself and having a good time, but no. I'm going to spend 9 years of my life as a New York State public safety officer at the Jacob K. Javits Convention Center of New York. 9 years. And those people fired me. Yeah, they did, for no reason. True story. Just walked in my office and woke me up and told me to go home. Great job. I was working for the state, benefits, money. It was wonderful. The only thing, the rules. Hard, ridiculous, impossible to follow. They wanted me to sit up from midnight until 8 o'clock in the morning, awake the entire night, and watch a locked door. Do I look like a fool? The building is closed. I'm closed too. What are you talking about? I can't follow ridiculous rules. Before I worked for the Javits Center, I had another job that I wasted time on. I love this job. I worked for this big corporation. You might have heard of them. They're called Church's Fried Chicken. Yeah. Chicken was delicious. The rules to work in there, impossible to follow. They were ridiculous. When the chicken stays under the light too long, don't sell it. But don't eat it either. Why not? Like, you're not selling it? Why can't I have it? They said every piece gets counted at the end of the night, and then they throw it away. You do what? You should have put that in the application. I would not have taken this job. Because I like the chicken when it's been under the light extra long. It made it even more crispy and good. You guys don't know that because they throw it away. I was at the company meeting trying to make changes and great suggestions like, excuse me, hi, yeah, over here. Why can't we eat the chicken and count the bones? Wouldn't that be the same amount of chicken? So yeah, they just like, sit down, please. Okay, well, thank you. Every time I went to the bathroom, I couldn't save them all, but 4 or 5 of you, come with me.
I think I mentioned I'm from a big family. I'm guessing a couple of you might be from a big family. A couple of you? Know what that feels like? Need the attention? I'm not like, the 9th of 11 children, but I was born the 4th of 3. No pictures in the photo album. Anybody else? They ran out of film. They got tired. Literally no pictures of me in the photo album. I was home for Christmas like Frank, Bob, Cindy, where am I? My mom's like, well, you looked a lot like her. So I was feeling kind of sorry for myself, and my sister's an artist, so she drew pictures of me so I could recount my childhood. That was nice of her. Turns out I was a stick baby with 3 fingers on each hand. She wasn't a good artist. She couldn't remember how many fingers I had. Somehow she remembers that lazy eye, though. 1 pupil in the middle and 1 sort of up there. There you go. Sisters are like that. She's keep you honest. One year she gave me binoculars that were welded crooked. That's so you can hunt ground squirrel and bird watch at the same time. One time, and I don't know, this is where I do think that God has a sense of humor, because one time I had a car that literally the right headlight was drifting up. Lefty was right down the road and righty was up there looking at the trees, just kind of. Park by sound. We're there, get out. I was just reminiscing in my head about a day I had my dad all to myself, one fishing trip. We went camping down at Lake Taneycomo there in the Missouri Hills. Lake Taneycomo had some trout, and my dad took me fishing. For some reason, I had him all to myself, and it was a special day. You know that feeling if you're in a big family. I got my dad all to myself today. And we went out there. He was doing the fly fishing. He was doing the fancy. And I had my Zebco push button. I think I was about 6 or 7. Had the push button reel and a can of corn, right? Got my can of corn. I think it's illegal, but it's okay. Because I wasn't catching any fish. I had a bobber, hunting for trout. With my bobber, I would bait my hook. I was glad it wasn't a worm, because compassion. And then I would worry. I worried about the fish. I'm like, Dad, doesn't that hurt them when you catch them? And he's like, oh, little girl, don't you worry about these fish. They have no nerve endings in their mouth. Made a note of it. You just think about setting the hook and getting them in the net. We're going to have supper tonight. So I was out there. I was, casting. The bobber would go this way, the hook over there, and the corn way over there. Everything's everywhere. I just kept trying. Then I would get hung up in the brush behind, I'm not saying it was the lazy eye. I'm just saying something. I have no excuse, actually. And my dad was having to put down his seltzer. He'd splash that down, and then he would run over and untangle it and throw it out there, getting kind of huffy. And I'm like, ooh, I'm nervous now. I start getting sweaty palms because I want to impress my dad. He always rewarded efficiency and intelligence. And I was like, yes, I can do this. And so I was trying to get focused on casting, and I would get hung up again. And I'm nervous. And he said, look, next time you get hung up, just pop it like this. Pop it out. Just pop it. Like, I got it, Dad. I'm with you. So next time I got hung up, man, I was like, I'm on it. I was popping it. And I couldn't get it out. He's yelling at me, Nancy! I'm like, doing my best. I turn around. He's got a piece of corn right there. What's he doing with corn on his face? I was a keeper. My knees were just shaking. Oh no. He turned on his heel. He ran back to camp. I'm trying to keep slacking the line. I'm running after. Wait. Unbeknownst to me, he had cut the line and was running. Oh my goodness. That is a sad, true story. By the time I got back to camp, my mom and he were just like turning up, donuts, around the campsite and heading to the doctor. And I just felt so bad. And he came to one comedy show that I ever did. So I told that story, and I had to admit, I think that scarred me for life. And he yelled from the back, "It scarred me too!" Yeah, I set the hook. Past the barb. I never did get him in the net.
I do think it's important to still laugh at uncomfortable topics, like I have a friend who has 2 hook hands. And exactly, you can laugh at that. It's not because you hate people with hook hands. You're just like, we didn't think you were gonna say hook hands, right? That wasn't the next word you predicted me to say. And the same thing happened when I first met him. He shook out his hook, and I didn't expect to see a hook, so it caught me off guard, And I didn't know what to do in that moment. I didn't know whether to address it, not address it, hang my jacket on it. I was like, I've never been in this situation before. So I just sort of panicked, decided to pretend everything was normal, just shook the hook, said nice to meet you, and walked away. And then I had a friend who was a comic on the same show, and he got the hook. And when he got the hook, he was like, "What the hell, man? What the hell? You gotta warn a guy! You gotta warn a guy before you just shove your cutlery in his face!" And I was like, that was the right reaction. That's how I wish I had reacted. So immediately the guy just looked so at peace, like, thank goodness somebody's actually acknowledging the reality in front of him, So we're all so afraid all the time. Because we're all messed up, we all have something, right? Like, who's got nothing wrong with them? Exactly. We're all messed up in some way. I get depressed sometimes. I actually just went off my antidepressants, which is, thank you. It's good, I'm starting to feel again, And I thought I would get like a natural remedy for depression, so I went to the herbalist, the woman in Whole Foods who wears the badge. And I told her, I was like, I just went off my antidepressants, and she goes, good for you. Good for you. And I was like, thank you. And she's like, do you want to try some CBD oil? It's supposed to be good for depression. And I was like, honestly, I don't think I need it now. I think all I needed was someone to say, good for you. And now I feel great. So now anytime I feel down, I just go to aisle 3, I talk to Susan, and get some self-esteem. Then I started to realize that people say the exact same thing when you go on antidepressants as when you go off them. So when you go on them, people are like, good for you for really taking care of your mental health. Good for you. And then you go off them and people are like, good for you for being so brave to do this on your own. Good for you. So what I realize is people just don't care. They don't care what you're doing.
But yeah, I do go to the doctor a lot. I have a genetic heart condition called Marfan syndrome, and it's pretty cool. It has physical signs that I will share with you now. Awareness saves lives. So one of the signs is being tall. Another sign is having like disproportionately big hands. So I'll let you guys look at them. I know people always want to look at my hands, so we'll just get it out of the way. That's how big my hand is. I know. You think that's crazy? Look how big my peace sign is. Someone just covered their mouth. I know, I got 2 of them. The other day, I went into my friend's house and I went up to his TV and I was like, you got cable! I know, it is. It's it is what it is. But another sign of Marfan syndrome is having scoliosis. So I have scoliosis, I have a curved spine. And growing up, I was super self-conscious about it, and my mom tried to cheer me up. She was like, well, you know what? Guys love curvy girls. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so curvy, yeah. Ooh, my lungs are collapsing. I know. Oh, another sign of Marfan syndrome. Hold on, my mouth is so dry. Another sign is dry mouth. Just kidding. Another sign is being very nearsighted, and I am very nearsighted. Here's how I know that I have very bad vision. I went to the doctor to get new contacts, and the doctor saw my prescription. She was like, oh, no. I was like, oh, it's not good when a doctor's scared. So I asked her, I was like, well, how bad is my vision? And she said, well, for normal people or normal prescription, everyone's normal, we're fine. I added that part. A normal bad is like a -2, -3. That's a lot of people are that prescription. Pretty bad's like a -7, -8. And she was like, your right eye is a -17. I know. I was like, oh man, that's bad. I was like, well, is that the worst you've ever seen? And she said, no. And I was like, yeah! And I was like, what's the worst you've ever seen? She said, -19. And I was like, booyah! Take that! I'm not the worst! I'm not the worst! I'm jumping around. And she goes, yeah, that's your left eye. I know. There's a little more to the joke. I didn't see that coming. So, oh man.
Yeah, so Paula Dean's not so bad after all, is she? She's the next best thing to the Cracker Barrel, you guys. My GPS can find a Cracker Barrel anywhere in the country. I'm riding along and it's at the light, turn right. At the light, turn right. My little Surrey with her British accent, you know. Sometimes it's the French lady. She's like, Mademoiselle, at the intersection, make a U-turn. Mademoiselle, at the intersection, make a U-turn. That's in case I'm gonna get the French toast, right? You know. Oh, yeah. And then I got a Southern guy, you drive down the road, and he's like, woo, we're almost there. I'm like, I got a redneck in my GPS. I love it. You turn down the frontage road, and he's not recalculating. He's like, rethinking. What? Just so weird. Modern technology is off the hook. Are you guys on that iPhone 10? Galaxy 5000? I don't know. Are you guys like updated? I mean, I'm not judging. Otherwise, I mean, I'm still talking out of a Progresso can. Ring, ring, that's me. Yeah. Heck, my brother has the flip phone. Anybody here have that one? Remember, it always reminded me of Star Trek, you know. And those little things that they would have with Captain Kirk. Even when his phone rings, it's like. It's unbelievable. Anyways, yeah. Oh, modern technology's off the hook. I don't think that they'll ever have enough, what would you say, research in the airline industry for my liking. I don't know about you guys. Think about it. You're on your way to the airport. They spell it out in big, bold letters. You're probably going to die, right? You know, it's like terminal. I think they're in cahoots with the insurance companies, right? Sorry about your loss, man, but there it is in writing. Sorry. Anytime I fly, I just wear it depends. It's gotten so bad, you know, one time we sat on the runway for like 4 hours, and I was like, oh, thank gosh. Oh, goodness gracious. I'm so happy I'm wearing it depends. 4 hours. Then once I could get off the plane and head to the baggage claim, like, people laughed at me. They had no idea what I'd been through. You know? I mean, really? Oh, they pointed the finger. And it was probably because I had the depends being held in by a pair of thong underwear. I admit it. Not the best choice in undergarments, I admit it. And it's really not my fault, you know? Oh, gosh. I got one of those mothers that tries to help me out in the romance department. She ended up buying me the rawhide bra. Have you seen that one? The one that kind of heads them up and moves them out? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She got my sister the bird dog bra. That's the one that makes pointers out of setters. So, you know, it's like, oh, yeah. And the weird thing is my mom doesn't even wear a bra. I'm like, Mother, how come you're not wearing a bra? She goes, I don't wear a bra because it takes the wrinkles out of my neck.
tried to look my best for you all this evening. Thank you. Thank you. And I always, when I get all dressed up, I always say to my husband, I say, how do I look? And he says, you look fine. Fine, not what I want to hear, right, ladies? What I want to hear is fabulous, beautiful, thin. Is this too much to ask? Wouldn't it be great if your man was like, you could put a little computer chip into his neck, and every time you touch it, he'd say all the things you always wanted to hear? You'd touch it and he'd say,
That diamond is much too small.
you'd touch it and he'd say,
I have gas. I'm going into the next room.
you'd touch it and he'd say,
I'm lost. Let's ask for directions.
of course, my husband would think it would be better if he could put a computer chip into my neck. You would touch it, and I'd say, nothing. Because he thinks I talk too much. He actually, it was a little rude what he told me recently. He said my voice was irritating. Sometimes he says to me, could you stop talking? Would you hush up? Could you stop? Could you hush up? Would you just shut up? And I just keep talking. And my husband, he says my voice doesn't come in handy all the time, but when we lived in Hollywood, I lived in Los Angeles, I auditioned for the original phone voice of the iPhone, Siri. And they told me if I had gotten the part, they would have renamed her Sorry.
So, but there's lots of stuff to do to keep looking good, and I do all of those things because I'm at a certain age where they send you emails about crepe erase. Like, I didn't even know I was this old. Do you know about crepe erase? Have you looked at the back of your arms? No, the back of my arms face the back. No. So there's eye cream, right, ladies? There's face cream. There's actually décolleté cream, which I just started buying. It's $135 an ounce. It has like Eye of Newt, kryptonite, and tree horn. I don't know what's in it. And it stinks, so you know it's good. Don't tell my husband it costs that much. Somebody's like, why do you have a P.O. box? I'm like, so I stay happily married with my online shopping. We don't have an argument. We're in love. No. Crepe erase. So I went to order it. It was $39 every 4 minutes. I'm fine. I'll wear a jacket. But there are lots of creams that I do use because I'm a celebrity. You guys recognize me? Sir, do you recognize me? People are like, have you been on that show? I was like, yes, cops. Just kidding, it was cheaters. But that's... Just kidding. So I have to use all these creams now, and if you're at a certain age, right, if you went to first grade during Watergate, that's all the adults laughing. The rest of you are like, I could just search it up. She said Watergate, is that a subdivision? Not a subdivision. So, but I use creams now because there's so many creams that you can use just on your face. I have an eye cream, face cream, and I have a décolleté cream. I didn't even know I had a décolleté. And if you could see it, it's right under here. It's like butter. Sir, please, you're with somebody. Look away. Is that décolleté or is that fur? I don't know, it's cold here.
So I love being a homeschool mom. I do. I finally graduated them. I have 2 boys, which are precious, and they're awesome. 2 boys. My youngest is 18, and my oldest is unemployed. Well, I graduated both out of homeschool, and then my oldest went away to the Dream Center School of Ministry, went away to Bible school, finished that program. Yeah, now he's back home living on my couch because they told him there that Jesus paid it all. That's what happens when you're reading out that Bible app. But I love it. His dad's so patient with him, y'all. And thank goodness. You know, one of you in the parenting relationship's got to have a little bit more patience than the other, and that's my precious husband. And he's kind of patient with me, too. And so we've been married for 22 years. And when we first got married, we weren't real compatible. Yes, honey, thank you. 22 years. Yeah, that's a long time not to smother somebody. Yeah. Thank you. And so, yeah, we weren't real compatible at first. Well, he's the kind of guy that likes sports, and I'm the kind of girl that likes naps. What else? He was Catholic, and I don't even drink. Sometimes that one just moves across the room. We were waiting on you, sir. But we finally, you know, I took him to my church, and mine was way different than his, okay? If you know anything about Catholicism, it was just way different. I went to a non-denominational, free, spirit-filled worship church. Tiny bit different than Catholic. And he embarrassed the mess out of me, y'all, when we first got there. He kept staring at this woman on my row the whole time. And I was like, would you quit staring? And he said, I can't help it. I think she has a question. I said, baby, that's for Jesus. He said, well, if he calls on her, I'm out of here.
It's been cool. I see a lot of stuff when I travel. I meet a lot of people. Like, you're all new people to me, which is cool. I like to meet new people. I try to be nice. It's hard. It's hard to be nice. It is. You ever waste niceness? Right? You ever waste it? Like, I was at a mall, and this guy was, I opened a door for a guy. Like, we're both walking out, and I saw him, like, right behind me. So I opened the door, and he walked through. And he stopped right outside the other side of the door and started checking his phone. So I was, like, trapped behind him. That's a waste of this. I only have so many of these left. Like, you can't be nice to everybody because there's too many people out there. There's something happening, right, where there's just more dumb people, right? Like, you guys have to have noticed. Like, it's not just me, right? There's something, yeah, and I don't mean people that have anything clinically wrong with them. I mean people that just do stuff like that just slow the day down for everyone else, right? Just dum-dums, right? Just free-range morons just out for the day, right? Just cage-free idiots, just like, yay! Yeah. Like, let me walk slow in a mall. The 5 of us are gonna walk side by side. Just try getting around, right? It's true, like, I was driving, I'm on the highway, it's 65 on the highway. There is a car in the right lane going 45, going 20 miles an hour. I lost it. Like, this is one of those things where I have this fantasy, right? Where I just imagine I have a snow plow on the front of my car, and I can just edge them off. Like, just like, no, you don't get to drive here, right? And I go to pass the car, I want to give a look. Like, I like to look these people in the eye, right? I look over, it's a woman. She's not even looking out the windshield. She is looking out the driver's side window like this. Just a whole world of responsibility in front of the windshield, and she's just like, I'm out. I'm having a day here. Right? I think what we should have is we have a city, which is dumb city, where we just send all these people. Right? I could name 100 cities right now. Just a city, we just fence it off, put all the dumb people in it, let them live their lives. Right? They just have happy lives in a slow city, it's fine. Right? Like, we have a division of the police you can call. Like, I can call the police and be like, hey, there's an idiot. And the police come and they throw a sheet over her car. Right? and she falls asleep like a parrot because she would, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it gets slightly darker, she's like, oh, it's sleepy time, and just passes out, right? That's what would happen. Right? And the cops just gently take her car and they just put it in Dum Dum City, right? They don't hurt her, they take the sheet off, and she just wakes up and keeps driving. It's like a whole different trade. She's like, oh, there's trees now, and just lives her life. She just goes into any house. She's like, this is my house, right? Like, I was at Starbucks. I'm in line at Starbucks. It's a long line, and they're like 15 minutes. There's a guy in front of me. He's in line for like 15 minutes. And he gets up to the counter, and he goes, what did I want? I could have, on my hands, I was like, are you going to strangle him? Like, I couldn't control them. I was like, no, hands, no. Like, I couldn't do anything about it. But see, I should be able to call the police and be like, hey, there's an idiot at Starbucks, and the police come, and they throw a sheet over him, and he falls asleep. And they just take him to Dum Dum City, they take the sheet off and he's at a Starbucks there, and he's like, what did I want? And the guy behind the counter is like, I don't even work here. I fell asleep in a Burger King, I don't know what happened. Right? And then he just starts pressing buttons. He just does his order, like, that's it. Right? That's what we need. I belong there, I'm not gonna lie. You guys have met me, right? I'm not the sharpest knife on the porch, I get it.
I don't know what to do, my gosh. But this is nice, folks. You come out, you have a good time. That's what you gotta do. You gotta enjoy life. You know, I love my parents. Always be good to your parents, even if they're a little nuts. Because my parents, I don't quite understand them. They always try. Like when I was a little girl, my dad would always say, Karen, be proud of yourself. No matter what you do in life, always be proud of yourself. Because no matter what it is, there's always going to be some jerk standing there cutting you down. That's just how your mother is. I know they hate each other. I don't know why they're still married. I told my mother she wasn't thinking positive, so she joined a widow's club. They came out to visit me for a month. Oh yes, the people that gave me life came to suck it right back out of me. My dad told me he put a drawbridge on his house. Just turns out he installed the garage door upside down. Have you ever tried to take a stroll down memory lane with your parents talking about your childhood, and after listening to them for a few minutes, you're like, were you even there? What are you talking about? I'm like, hey, Ma, do you remember on my 10th birthday when I cracked my head open on a rock? And she's like, oh, I remember a duck got in the car. And then my father's like, that wasn't a duck, that was your Uncle Andy. Someone yelled, you want a beer? He thought they said the aliens are here. And yelled, they're gonna abduct me, everyone duck. And that's when the duck got in the car. And my dad is so cheap, he worries more about money than death. He left this message on my answering machine. Karen, your mother and I are going on vacation. Now, if we die on vacation, don't fly the bodies home. The airlines are gonna try and stick it to you with the price. You cremate the bodies and you mail them home. There's a flat rate priority box your mother will fit into nicely. I prefer a bubble envelope. So if you don't hear from us for a while and you get something in the mail, open it carefully. It's either your dead parents or some fudge. It will be a surprise. And then he wonders why everyone's nervous. We're a very nervous family.
Our family crest is a picture of an irritable bowel.
So the big news at my house right now is that my mother-in-law just moved in with us, his mom. Yeah, those groans are correct. She's never liked me. And I was really nervous. And I have to be honest, I have been pleasantly surprised. It's been fine. She's been quiet. She's mostly stayed in her urn and left us alone. I'm kidding. It's a joke. We couldn't afford an urn. She's actually in a box inside a crushed velvet bag that says Crown Royal on it. I do have to get out of here. You guys have been very nice. I do want to. I was sleeping with my husband the other night. All right, fine. He was sleeping. I was plotting. But the point is, I think he was having a nightmare or something. His little legs were kicking. He was flailing around on his side of the bed, like, right? Like he's being chased, right? He's running from something scary in a nightmare, like a monster or something. And I felt bad for him. So I reached out and I went, gotcha! Oh, good times. His heart stopped for nearly 2 minutes. And then I had to go sleep downstairs. Oh, not because he was mad, because he wet the bed. And I didn't have any Febreze handy.
Oh my gosh, but it was cold today. It was cold. So, I ran down to your local drugstore here and I got a pair of nylons. Because that's a trick you do, right, sir? You wear nylons underneath your pants to keep warm, right? That's what you do. If Joe Namath can do it, so can you, right? Exactly. Do you know who Joe Namath is? Do you have any idea who Joe Namath is? No, you're going to have to go home and Google him, too. Famous guy. And you wore nylons underneath this. And that's what I said. Oh, and my girlfriend had said, it keeps you warm. Go get a pair of nylons. Okay, well, this man knows, and maybe a couple other gentlemen know what I'm talking about, right? But to buy a pair of nylons, women, we actually have to do algebra to buy a pair of nylons, don't we? Right? Because there's a little graph, a little chart on the back. It's not small, medium, and large, as you know, sir. Go ahead and Google this. But on the back, it's not SML. It's a letter, ABC. We actually have to break out our phones and solve for X. Do we not? We do. A little graph, a little chart. If you're this tall and you weigh this much, you have to convert that into a letter, size A, B, or C. Guess what? I'm not on the graph. I'm not on the chart. I'm 6 feet tall, 150 pounds. I could try to be 5'9" and 135. That last dot of C that's kind of hanging out there. I can try. So I brought him home, brought him back to the hotel. I put, and women, we're putting on nylons. We're going into battle, right? We are. We sit down and we get them on and we're stretching them around our shoulders. Because they come out of the package this big, right? We got to make them long and we're working on them and we got to get our hand, we got to turn our rings around. No hangnails, no little bites, wart. Just stay home. Forget it. You got to have a clean hand going in, right? You know what I'm talking about. Get that hand in. I put on one foot and I put on the other. Got one thigh going this way, one thigh going that way. It's work. My husband's like, that's kind of sexy. I'm like, I'm working here. Hang on. And I get them on, and size C, right here. Crotch is right there. I'm over at the Marriott. I'm like, I gotta get over to Dry Bar. I'm like an old Jewish man in my house. I'm like, I couldn't move. My knees were locked. Oh, man. But it was cold today, so I went back. And I got queen size. Hallelujah, right? Queen size, that's a free-for-all. No graph, no chart. Just a free-for-all. You can get whatever size. You know what I'm talking about, sir, right? fabulous. They're fabulous. I love queen size. I am wearing them right now. Crotch is right where it should be. I'm very happy. Very happy. I have one problem. Yeah, here's the waistband. Did I just share too much with Provo? I don't know. Control top. Can I see the control top? Oh my gosh, this guy just threw up. Are you all right? Are you all right? And you're kind of excited. I can tell. It just happens. Look at me. I'm wrapped in here like a tube of toothpaste. I'm not going to poop till Tuesday. Hang on. It's kind of holding me all in and up. I'm kind of happy about it. Forget Spanx, women. Just buy queen size. Just get a pair of queen size. Just do it. Oh my goodness. I didn't know how that was going to go over, but you guys are good. Woo! Now I'm sad. Home run. All right, there we go. Oh, man.
So I'm at a stage in my life where I am learning to live and to love life. Yes. Yeah, I need y'all to clap. Is somebody depressed in here? What's going on? Are you really fine? Good for you. No. But I am, and that's because I'm getting older. I'm 48 years old, you guys. Yes. And I recognize the difference between 20 and 40s. It's not the same. It is not the same. I've learned that, like, in my 20s, there was just certain things that I could do when I wanted to, how I wanted to, and I didn't care. There was a lot of things that I disrespected when I was in my 20s. Like, you ever walk down the aisle at the store and you pass those readers? In my 20s, I was like, I don't need those. In my 40s, I have pairs that match my outfits. Do you know your eyesight changes automatically when you turn 40 years old? Like your eyes woke up and was like, don't want to see anymore. There were things that I could do when I wanted to, when I chose to. Like pee. In my 20s, I could hold it for all day long. Oh, I'm fine. We ain't gotta go. No, we're fine. I'm fine. In my 40s, I'm like, whoa. Them Depends look a whole lot better now, huh? I would have been used them, but I'm scared they gonna work. I thought you had to use the bathroom. No, I'm good.
Relationships are hard. I'm serious. That's why I'm single. I can't do all that work. A lot of work trying to look fly and show up on a date starving and sit there with a guy and order an appetizer and, this dinner's gonna cost me $50. Like, this cost me $600 just to look this cute. The guys are like, I don't know if I want to be in a relationship. You're like, look, I'm waxing eyebrows and shaving and plucking, and you're gonna be in a relationship whether I like you or not. I always see married guys like, I don't know why my wife seems to hate me. When did that start? It's like, she hated you all along. She was proving a point. We're evil. Women are evil. We'll plot 6 hours just to ignore you guys for 2 seconds. Have all of our friends involved. You guys don't even know. There'll be like a hair behind the toilet. We'll find the hair. No, it's not our hair. Be like, whose is this? I'm gonna bag this, take it back to the lab. Turns into an episode of CSI Provo. We're gonna find out who that woman is. That's so nuts. That's why we don't support each other. Remember all those years who say, if there was a female president, there'd be no wars? We bomb any country that looks better than us. First country She's got to go with Sweden. Like Sweden, those blondes, they're harmless. Let's take out the Philippines. Philippines, don't you want Iraq? Iraq, they're covered. I'm gonna bomb LA.
Getting fat. It's the other thing that happens. You'll get fat when you get in your 50s. You don't even eat anything and you get fat. I hate it. I get up in the morning, here's what I do. I have a half a piece of fruit. Because if I had a whole piece of fruit, I'd blow up like a tick. So I have a half a piece of fruit and a cup of green tea. Then I weigh myself. Then I cry for the next 3 hours. So every day I'm gaining more weight. Same routine every day. Half a piece of fruit, green tea, weigh myself, cry. And yesterday there was a commercial on the television for Charter Mental Hospital for their depression. If you don't call Charter, call somebody. So I called Pizza Hut. That fixed everything all up, yeah. Do you go shopping with your girlfriends there, Cheyenne, here in town? I used to love doing that when I was young. I only go shopping with your mother-in-law. With your mother-in-law? She thinks that's hysterical. I used to love to go to the mall when I was your age. I can't go to the mall now. Go now because you get old. They don't let me in those stores. They don't. I went in that Forever 21 store. The lady's like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. I go, well, you don't have a Forever 55 store. Wouldn't that be great? A Forever 55 store? Right, ladies? Somebody needs to invent one of those. You go in, all they got is, like Spanx and Botox and wine. I went to my first Botox party about 2 weeks ago. Have you ever been to one of those, girls? I never even heard of it. My girlfriend calls up, she goes, here's, we're gonna have a Botox party. Got 6, 7 girlfriends, come over. We're gonna have some appetizers and some wine spritzes. And I'll have a dermatologist there and he will shoot you up with Botox wherever you want the Botox. So I went to the party. Obviously, I did not have the Botox, but everybody had a wonderful time. They did. The one woman was like, this was the best party I've ever been to. I can't remember when I've laughed this hard.
Where are the parents in the room? Clap your hands. Where are the parents in the room? Yeah! It's amazing. It's amazing. I had friends that had kids the same time I did. 1 kid, 2 parents, and complained about how hard it was. Look, I just can't feel bad for you. Sorry, can't feel bad for you because 3 is harder than 1. Let's start at the beginning. Breastfeeding. Right? Yeah, we're outnumbered. Bedtime routine with 1 kid, it's easy. Good night. Mama loves you. We're gonna say a prayer. We're gonna say a long prayer. I'm gonna rub your back till you fall asleep. You're done. I'm tired. I'm on kid number 2. I'm like, look, Mama loves you, so does Jesus. By kid number 3, I'm like, look, did you hear what I said to your brother and sister? That. Birthday parties with 1 kid. Birthday parties with 1 kid, it's easy. What do you got, 10, 15 kids? I got like 200 kids. I gotta call the city and get permits. I gotta order porta potties. With 1 kid, you write out the invitations and you put each kid's name on it and you pass it out in the classroom. I made a birthday flyer. Put it on the bulletin board. See it or you don't. With 1 kid, you get face painters. They come out and they paint every kid's faces with some Ninja Turtles and some rainbows and unicorns. I got money for that. We use magic markers. The washable ones this year. And then at the end of the party, you have to give out these gift bags, as if to say, here's the rest of my money. I just gave every kid a fist bump and some Laffy Taffy.
And I'm adopted. I was adopted when I was a little baby, but now I've been looking for my real parents. Do I look like anybody you know? And the weird thing is that my parents were like 60 when they adopted me, y'all. 60. I don't even know how they pulled that off. I don't know if they got a deal or had a coupon or some kind of senior discount. But other kids will make fun of me. You know what? My daddy got a big promotion this week. I'm like, yeah? Well, my daddy got successful cataract surgery. That's what I'm talking about. Vision. And you know, when you're a little kid, you copy everything your parents do. I was the only little kid who was afraid of breaking a hip. For real. My PE teacher, Linda, you gotta do PE. What about my hip? I can't risk it, lady. When it came to cereal, all my little friends like Captain Crunch and Fruit Loops. Not me. I like shredded wheat. And not the cute little frosted mini wheats. I'm talking about that big old brick. That bale of hay. You know what I'm talking about. Takes like 4 gallons of milk just to soften that baby. I loved it.
My last name is Alvarado, which is Spanish for single parent. 3 generations strong and growing, yeah. I'm actually Peruana, Peruvian, 1st generation born in the US. And the crazy thing is when I tell Americans my nationality, how many of them are like, where's Peruvia? Are you kidding me? I'm like, it's by Ecuadoria. That's good. The smart people are laughing. Very good, you guys. I'm proud of you. The ones that aren't laughing, that's who I wrote the joke about. If you don't get it, just go home tonight and study. Seriously, just study your geometry. Because that will help. I was pregnant young, yeah. I was. I mean, I'm not the typical Latina in my family because I got pregnant in my late teens. My mom was like, hurry up, your little brother's already a grandfather. I know. I hear you. So I became a Christian when I was 4 months pregnant. Yeah, I did. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this alone. It is too hard. It is too hard, and I do not recommend it because kids are so curious, aren't they? They're so curious. I remember when my son found his birth certificate, he was 9 years old, and he was so cute. He thought his dad was named after a reindeer. Donner, you know, like Donner, Blitzen. I'm like, no, baby, that says donor. That's so cute. And I had to have all the hard talks with my son by myself. Did you know that they now teach sex education to 4th grade children? 4th grade. So every day he's coming home with a new question for mom. He's like, Mommy, where do babies come from? Why are there twins? What's a father? And I try to be a good mom, you guys. I actually read the Bible with my son. And the only person in the Bible that I actually relate to is Mary. Because she was pregnant as a teenager. She was pregnant out of wedlock. And it was immaculate conception. What's so funny? And there's this story in the Bible. Like, I think that God chooses the right person for the task. There's one person, and he equips that person, and they're great at it because he would not have chosen me to raise the Savior of the world. I couldn't do it because I'm not patient. I'm not that good. Like, if my son was fooling around at bath time, I'd be like, hey, Jesus, get in the water, not on the water. Stop parting the bath. You're splashing your brother, okay? There is a story in the Bible where Mary goes with her family to the temple to worship. And then they go all the way back home, and she realizes that Jesus is not with them. So she has to get on a donkey and go all the way back 3 days. I wouldn't have been so nice. Yeah, right, moms in here? I'd be like, where were you? I was worried sick. Do you know what he says to his mother? He says, woman. That's when my chancla comes off, okay? Yeah. And then he said, did you not know that I would be in my father's house? Wait a minute, you found your father? That's amazing. Did you get a child support check? Because that would be great. And my mom says that I should have a good role model for my son. And she suggests my brother Willie, except for he's not the sharpest tool in the shed, okay? He was babysitting my son one night. It's 10 o'clock at night. He's in the front yard with a flashlight and a piece of paper in his hand. And I go, what are you doing? He said, I'm helping the kid with his homework. It says here, how many centimeters in a yard? What? He doesn't stop there. He goes, this is so unfair. These centimeters are so fast. And I go, so what are you going to write? He goes, I'm going to put, it depends on the weather. Because if it's cold, there won't be as many.
I got some advice. Anybody thinking dating or anything like that? I'm gonna be a little snoopy. Listen, here's my advice. I think if you ever have the choice for ladies, you should marry an old guy. Yeah, because old guys can do stuff. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings here, but young guys, what skills are you bringing to the table? Yeah. Tim didn't even have a socket set when we got married. I was like, we're gonna die. There's always an accident where you can save your life with a socket set, especially if you know metric. And I know metric because in school they said you gotta learn metric. This is the way the country's going. So I studied and I studied, and they couldn't ever just give you a straight answer. They said, "Oh, okay, kids, you want to know what a meter is? Well, you know what a football field looks like, don't you? Take that, divide it by 100, then go a little bit more." And you know, the kilogram is very easy. That's 2.2 pounds. But they couldn't just say it. The teachers were like, think of a small cat. Ah! That's right and left brain. I was in the ungifted and untalented program. But I remembered this small cat, and my mom and I would watch these Sunday night movies together. There'd always be like a drug dealer on these risque Sunday night movies. And the drug dealer would always say, that guy's gonna need a kilo of coke. And I'd turn to my mother and I'd say, Mother, that is like a small cat of cocaine. We're learning it in school.
He has stayed with me all these years, which is amazing, considering that I kid around with him so much. He had a hard life growing up. his daddy told him he went to the dentist and they told him he needed braces. And his daddy said, "We ain't got the money for braces." He said, "You just sit around and while you're watching TV, you just push on your teeth." He said, "I'd be sitting there at night and Daddy would say, 'Push on them teeth, boy.'" He said, "Till I was about 18, I had permanent dents in my finger from pushing on my teeth." But you never know what he's going to do. He went to the Holy Land a while back. And while he was in Bethlehem, he was at the scene where they believed Jesus was born in a manger. And as he was looking, he bent down. And when he bent down, his glasses came off and slid up under it. And the man said, "I'm going to get these for you. Don't touch anything." So he reached up under and got them for him. And he put them back on. And he walked around for the rest of the day. And he kept saying, everything seemed blurred. And finally somebody walked up to him and said, "You're missing a lens out of your glasses." So I'm thinking maybe 200 years from now, they're going to do some kind of archaeological dig and find that and say, "Wow, they had glasses back in Jesus' time." But anyway, so he had to go without his glasses. So he was on the square in Marietta, Georgia, where we live. And they had some very small parking places. And he tried to pull his big old truck into, he don't have the Ranger anymore, it's got a big truck now. So he tried to pull that big old truck into one of those small parking places and couldn't do it. And this man said, "Hey, there's some bigger parking places right over there." And Tim said, thanks. So when he moved his truck, when he got out, he saw that man again. And so he said to that man, he said, "Thank you for telling me about these parking places. And by the way, thank you for your service." The man looked at him kind of funny. And he said, I don't know what you're talking about." And Tim said, he said, "My grandson's a Marine now. We got a grandson-in-law that's in the Air Force, and I just appreciate the military so much. Thank you for your service." And the man said, "I'm sorry, but I still don't know what you're talking about." And Tim said, "Your hat. Thank you for your service." He said, "That's the heating and air company I work for." Tim said, "Thank you for your service. We all need heating and air." But he loves me, and he says sometimes, he'll say, "You know, if anything ever happened to you, I'd never get married again." I said, "Tim Childers, you wouldn't last a day without a wife." He said, "No, seriously. If anything happened to you, I'd never get married again." I said, "This right here is how you'll pray at my funeral." With one eye open, looking my replacement. He said, "Yeah, I probably would." He said, "I'll probably walk over to your casket, get a flower and take it to some woman and say, 'Would you accept this rose?'"
Well, people are always asking me where I get my material. And the truth is, I get my material living life. You know, whatever happens to me, good or bad, I find the humor in it. 4.5 years ago, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I'd just gone for a routine checkup, and the nurse practitioner was examining me, and we were laughing and joking about getting older, when all of a sudden she got to my abdomen and all the blood drained out of her face, and she said, "You have a huge mass." She said, "Didn't you feel that?" I said, "Well, I knew it didn't matter what I did. I couldn't get rid of my stomach, but I thought it was just like the middle-aged spread, you know." She said, "That's not fat, that is a mass." I said, "Well, you better check back here because I can't get rid of that either." The next week, I was in surgery, and when my doctor cut me open, my right ovary came flying out the size of a cantaloupe, my left ovary size of a grapefruit. Turns out my muffin top was a fruit salad. And I travel all the time, which means I go through those x-ray machines at airport security a lot. Don't you think that at some point a TSA agent would have pulled me aside? I don't see a bomb, but you're packing a fruit stand, lady. Call your doctor.
4 weeks after that, I started chemotherapy, and I have to confess, having been a college athlete, I thought, I'll breeze right through that, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done. And on my worst days, my friend Christy would put on Kelly Clarkson, What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger, and we would dance. Now, when I say that I danced, I mean that I shuffled around the room. I certainly don't want to give the impression that I twerked my way through chemo. Or that I was hooked up to the IV going, watch me drip, watch me nay-nay. Watch me drip, drip, watch me nay-nay. I did not have that in me. But cancer really has taught me so much, like never order a wig on the internet. I ordered the Jamie Lee Curtis Pixie, and what they sent me made me look like Joe Pesci from My Cousin Vinny. And I see other cancer patients tie a scarf around their head and look like a fashion model. When I did it, people asked me to read their palms. And of course, the very last hair to fall off my body was Gladys, my devoted chin hair. And when I finished treatment, my hair started coming back. Guess who was first back on the scene? Cancer has also taught me to live every day as if it's my last. Of course, that upsets my family. Because every day I call them and say goodbye. I'll miss you. Also learned that chemo brain is real. About 3 months after my last treatment, I was on my way out of town, and I pulled up to the drive-thru of SunTrust Bank, and the teller said, "How may I help you?" And I said, "I need to pick up my prescription." And the second it came out of my mouth, I realized where I was. I said, "I was wondering if you'd run down to Walgreens and get it for me." You're the one always bragging about customer service.
That's why love is hard, man. Love is very hard. You know, I will tell you, I was in a long-term relationship, but he didn't pop the question. Yeah, instead he asked me how I felt about having an open marriage. And I was like, well, that depends on how you feel about having an open casket. I didn't realize how difficult dating was until I saw this documentary about women who are dating men in prison. Yeah, look, I don't know what these ladies are thinking. Like, well, he may not be coming home to me, but at least I know where he is. One woman on there who married a serial killer. Now, maybe my standards are a little too high. But murder's a deal breaker for me. Because here's the thing, at some point during our relationship, you're gonna feel like killing me. I need to know that you can resist that urge. Now, when you're dating, I think it's very important to be careful of your language. Like I hear women say all the time, "Oh, there are no good men out there." That's not true. I was walking across the street one time. I didn't see this car speeding towards me. This man, he reached out and he pulled me back. And he was like, "I can't let somebody pretty as you get hurt." was like, oh man, if I was ugly, I'd be dead. You know, a bad hair day and no makeup, he'd have shoved me in front of the car. I mean, that's why I try to dress nice, you guys. This isn't vanity, this is safety.
Does anyone need the time? I don't know. I actually don't think I have it, unfortunately. But let's do this. Hey. Hey. I'm feeling good tonight. Hope I'm looking good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, these are new jeans, so wore them special for you guys. They're tight. It's a lot. They're really tight. But they are called curvy skinny, so spread the word, ladies. We really can have it all. That's right. Skinny jeans, yeah, I'm wearing them. I regret it already, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, skinny jeans, we all wear them, but in a few years, I think we're gonna regret it, you guys. People who say they live their life with no regrets have clearly never caught a glimpse of themselves in the Walmart security camera when you're walking in a pair of skinny jeans. Yeah. 90% of that footage is people looking up all confident till they see themselves and they scurry away. Skinny jeans are the acid wash jeans of the 21st century. They're gonna make fun of them in flashback scenes and sitcoms. Our kids are gonna look at pictures of us and be like, oh my gosh, Mom. You know, the same way you did when you saw your mom in those Janet Jackson shoulder pads. You still wear them? Is that what you just said? You are a brave woman. But you know what? I bet nobody messes with you. You don't even fit through the door. It's amazing. And we wear our skinny jeans so tight. I mean, heaven forbid we go up a size and I get circulation in my calves again. I mean, really, and I will get into my skinny jeans. You know that move. We all do it. This move. Every time we get out of the car, we're like, Only time I ever do a lunge is when I'm trying to get into my skinny jeans. And we will fight to get in them. We're not going up a size. No way. We're getting in them. We're gonna wrestle them. We're gonna get them in. And then suddenly, you've ripped a belt loop. Well, I guess I have to buy these now. A couple of men in the audience, I see you acting like you don't know what I'm talking about, please. Men's jeans are getting tighter and tighter. We're one season away from girlfriend fit for men. And I'm gonna hate them, because they are gonna look better on him than they do on me. Which is rude, okay? Ladies, you ever thought like, oh, this will be so cute, I'm gonna put on my boyfriend or my husband's jeans only to get him caught like right here? Turns out, I'm wider than I thought. For a long time, I was like, I'm only gonna marry someone who has bigger legs than me. I was single for a while, guys. Sometimes you just gotta lower the bar. You really do. It's just the best thing to do. Women are hopeful people, though, okay? Women are super hopeful people. And here's how I know that, all right? Because every woman I know is hanging on to a pair of jeans that she believes will fit her again someday. Yeah. I have those jeans, okay? 2004 was a good year for me.
I wore them for about 3 weeks freshman year of college, till I discovered the unlimited soft serve in the cafeteria. Call it my freshman 15 pounds of froyo a week, so. It was rough. Oof, it was rough, but it was delicious.
See a lot of couples out here tonight. Yeah, oh yeah, you guys look romantic. Yeah. Let me ask you guys, since you're such a romantic group, do you guys believe that there's somebody out there for everybody? You do? Oh yeah, me too. I do. I think there's a lid for every pot. I do. That's right. I think that life is just one big puzzle, you know, and you're just a puzzle piece waiting for your missing piece to click in next to you. I think there's someone out there for everybody. I mean, sometimes you see people and you're like, not them. No, they'll die alone, you know. But us, there's someone out there for us. No, I do. I think there's somebody out there for everybody, even the die-alones, you know. And this was affirmed for me not too long ago. I was in Las Vegas, and I was doing what you do in Vegas, just walking down the street, people judging, you know. That's what you do. People, you call it people watching. That's not what you do. You wish it was, yeah. People watching, I think, I've never done it, but I think it would be like, oh, I wonder how old that kid is. Where'd that man get his shirt? I wonder where they're from. I've never had thoughts like that, no. My thoughts are more like, that kid should be on a leash. He's a fatty. She's a harlot. Well, anyway, I was in Vegas and I saw this couple, and they were meant to be. Let's just say that they were meant to be. You know, just rare and exotic birds that found each other. You know, it's a man and a woman. Both of them had ponytails. You know, both wearing socks and sandals. You know, they were two double XL people, both wearing fitted medium shirts. So there was all kinds of spillage. They were both holding iguanas. That's the part that caught me. Yeah, that's. Otherwise, I just would have been like, huh? And I was like, huh? Anybody else? Anybody? And I wanted to know what their love story was. You know, because they were together, obviously, and they had a love story, you know, and so I followed them for a little bit. And then after a while, I got kind of bored and was like, I'll just make it up. Here's what I think happened. They fell in love at the reptile store. Well, on the lizard food aisle stood a girl named Sarah. She had a lazy eye and was chewing on her Hera. She was humming the theme song to Deep Space Nine when the boy with the ponytail caught her good eye. He was breathing kind of heavy when he reached for the iguana treat. Sarah got nervous, started staring at her feet. Ivan said, I really like your sandals and your socks. Sarah said, that's nice of you. They're Crocs. Then they talked about iguanas and they talked about Star Wars, never thinking they just found love at the reptile store.
So Sarah came over and she brought her iguanas to Ivan's little room in the basement at his mama's. He showed her his comic books and action figures too. Then they stayed up late watching Doctor Who. He was breathing kinda heavy when he walked her to the door, and a goodnight kiss turned into something more. They both did something they had never done before. And that's a story about how two crazy lizard lovers found love at that reptile store.
Yeah, so another thing that's hard when you get older is your parents' age. It's hard having your parents' age. My mom's 79, you know. My dad, he did pass away a few months ago, so that's hard when that happens. One of the cool things, though, sounds weird, but my dad was in the military, so he had a military send-off at his funeral. Have you guys ever seen one of those? Isn't it the neatest thing? I was so proud of my dad. I thought that was so cool. So, hey, how about a round of applause for my dad for being an awesome guy, serving our country? Yeah. He was a good guy, and he loved this country so much. So, and I want to just round up. Anybody here in the military too? No. Is anybody? But thank you all for what you do. It was really cool. But you know what? I just am not a fan of funerals, though. I mean, that military thing was really cool, but the funerals, hey. They're creepy. Viewings, don't anybody else just get completely creeped out at a viewing? You know, you're like expected to walk around and mingle, you know, and there's a dead guy over there. You know, it's creepy, you know? Like if he was like on the floor, you know, with the tape still around him, everybody would be like, oh my gosh, you guys, there's a dead guy in here. But you put him in a box and everybody's like, who wants punch? Creepy. People say stupid stuff to you too, you know, because they just don't know what to say. It's awkward, you know. Like, looking at my dad, and he looks really good, huh? Like he's dead. It looks just like him. I hope so. They did a good job, yeah. Or they say, oh, he's in a better place. My dad's at Target. I love Target. Yeah, I know. I don't know. He did some pretty shady things. He might be at Walmart. That was fun. Anyway, but when I don't want a funeral. When my husband and I both agreed, when the time comes, just minimal. I don't care what you do with me. You know, cremate me. You know, have a plate of nachos, say, hey, she was great, flush me down the toilet. I don't care. I don't care. I really don't. You know? But they have this thing, I don't know if you've heard of this, that if you get cremated, they take your ashes and they kind of like melt it down somehow and they make a diamond out of it. Have you seen that? You're all excited about it. Can't wait until my dad dies. Anyway. But they do. They make a diamond out of it, you know? It's weird. It's like, did he go to Jared? No, that is Jared. It's weird. Because see, here I am now. I'm a female, right? So I'm sitting here thinking, like, how big is that diamond going to be? You know, because some of us have a little bit more ash than others. You know what I'm saying? I'm already worried, you know? My grandkids are going to be sporting a little ring on, you know, and the people are going to look at it and go, oh, she was a large woman. I don't want to be like a cubic ton zirconia.
Kids are great. I'm glad I found my guy. Like I said, we're very different. The only one thing that did work out for us that was in common is I'm a very tall girl. So when I was dating, that was kind of tough. I'm very tall. Do we have any tall ladies in the crowd? Any tall ladies? Yay! How tall are you? Oh, we got a bunch of them. How tall? 5'9". 5'9", very nice. And you? 5'11". You're my kind of girl. Is this your guy right here? Is he taller than you? Yeah, you probably checked that out first, didn't you? I know. See, now for me, I always dated guys for their height rather than their wealth. You know, I know, because I wasn't thinking. And Now that I look back, ooh, I would love a short little rich man. Anyways. Actually, I never cared. I'd date a short guy. I don't care. I would date a short guy. It's very Hollywood. It's very, very attractive. If he's confident, I'm okay with it. But some short guys get angry around tall women. Did you ever notice that? Yeah, like we stole their height. Like we had anything to do with it, but they get mad. Did you get this growing up? I always got that stupid stuff. Like in high school, this guy would be, hey, what's the weather like up there? Every day, hey, what's the weather like up there? Hey, what's the weather like up there? One day I snapped. I go, it's raining. You know? I always got those things. I was in a nightclub once and went, hey, do you play basketball? I'm like, no. Do you play miniature golf? You know. And you shouldn't get upset about that. You shouldn't get upset about it. You just live with what you have and you use your sense of humor to get through it. I learned how to get through my height, right? Like I wasn't used to being tall, but I didn't want to slouch, so I never wanted poor posture, but I did do the hip stance. I don't know if you ever did that, because you're like 5'10", right? Look at 5'7". 5'10", 5'7". Actually, it worked out really, really good until one time I was at a party and this guy starts walking towards me and I didn't realize how short he was until he got closer and I was like, oh man, he is shorter. Wow, he is. Really? Oh man. Woo! What's up? And he's like, wow, are you a model? Thought I was a model. I'm like, no, are you mini-me? And but he was so nice. He still asked me to dance, so I didn't want him to notice. So I was doing all my cool moves. Slow dancing was weird. Hello, hey.
Same. Doesn't matter how old or ugly a man is, famous or wealthy, he will get a hot chick to the day he dies. He can even be askew, like a little off, a little sloppily lopsided, a crooked critter like the singer Lyle Lovett. You look at Lyle Lovett, you go, what happened to him? He looks like he fell off a Ferris wheel. You're like, oh, poor guy, hope he's okay. Not my point. My point is, and please hear me out, because I am a daffodil. I am all about love. Hear me out. You have to, hear me out. I have a point to this. My point isn't Lyle Lovett. My point is Stephen Hawking. Hear me out. Stephen Hawking, God rest his soul, was supposedly the smartest man in the world. Yes? He was an astrophysicist. He discovered black holes. I mean, so he said. I've never seen one. Anybody ever see one? Anybody wake up? I go, whoa, Stephen's been at work again? No. And think about it. Where's the quality control? If he was the smartest man in the world, who was checking his work? You see? This whole thing was a ruse. But that's not my point. My point is, and I'm just describing him, Stephen Hawking could not move from his head to his toes. He blew through straws and went through a computer, and that's how he communicated. I am not being mean, I just described him, yes? Yes. Okay. Couldn't move, head to toes, blew through straws, went through a computer. Are you ready for this? Stephen Hawking left his wife for another woman. Okay, I don't think all of you are getting this. The man couldn't move, and he left his wife. Men who can't move are leaving women. Let me tell you something. You want to leave me? You better be able to move, and you better move freaking fast. Come on. Do you realize he literally blew her off? Literally. Terrible. It's just so hurtful.